Hey guys, I just wanted to share with you this podcast that I found on Tesla. I follow Dave Lee. He made his fortune in Tesla stock, and he obviously is a Tesla bull. And he has a YouTube channel that I would check out. And he's speaking with James Dalma. James Dalma is a robotics and machine learning expert. And Dave likes to do this podcast with him to see what he's thinking about Tesla FSD and Tesla in general. So let's listen in here, and I'll give you my reaction to the conversation after the video. It's going to be a short excerpt of this 3.5 hour long conversation.
People are right now. Many people will violently disagree with that, I'm sure. But I think,
Okay,
on balance,
to clarify that, you think that robotaxi by itself, without human oversight, is safer than the average human, even
No.
right now?
No.
Okay.
I'm
But
just saying
robotaxi
a
plus
human
human.
supervised FSD
Okay,
car
got it.
is safer than a human being.
Mm.
And this is on average. Like if you
Yeah,
look at a big
yeah.
population of people and you get 1 billion miles or whatever the deal is, I think you're going to find that FSD drivers, people using FSD in the city, they're having fewer accidents than people who aren't using FSD and who are just driving the cars.
Full self-driving is FSD, and it's the current iteration of the Tesla's AI, the self-driving car, which is not completely autonomous yet. It requires a driver to continuously be monitoring the system and to take over if need be. And what he's saying here is the current iteration, with the driver paying attention and the AI paying attention, is safer than a regular human. I believe this to be the case. I did not purchase FSD. I did have a trial 4 years ago. But what I've noticed is just with the out of the factory, like the regular safety bells and whistles that you get with the Model 3. I have a 2018 Model 3 long range, is way better than just a normal car. Like not a little bit better. Like I would have gotten into at least 2 accidents had I not had just the basic safety features of this car, not even full self-driving. And obviously, as you purchase the different tiers of full self-driving, it gets better and better. So that's what he's talking about, and I agree with him here.
So there's this other level that you get to, where the less and less people, the more and more FSD does the driving and the less and less people do the driving, the more the overall statistics are reflective of FSD's capabilities and less, because one appropriate criticism that people have of over-interpreting the accident statistics right now is that people will preferentially drive themselves in situations where they understand FSD is weak, right? And so that sweetens the statistics a little bit too much, right? If you specifically take off the table the things that FSD is really bad at, then it's hard to compare to humans driving every kind of situation. Like if the baseline is, what is the human accident rate?
Sure.
So, that's a legitimate criticism. But that criticism gradually gets diluted as FSD takes over more and more and more of the driving, right? It's 90, according to my app stats, it's like 99% of my driving now. And I think.
So what I see when I'm driving the Model 3 is basically the cameras are identifying objects correctly, whereas before they wouldn't. It would be really hard for it to identify like people or bicyclists or cones. That's no longer the case. So I don't have full self-driving, but the software shows you a heads-up display with what it sees despite not having full self-driving. So I would agree with him here just anecdotally that full self-driving should be working better than it has in the past. Mainly, I get this from podcasts like this, listening to other channels that are, full self-driving channels. And overall, these experts are saying that full self-driving is getting a lot better.
I think, there are a lot of people who are in that zone where it's like 90+% of their driving. And now the statistics are starting to give you a real feel about how good it is versus 100% human driver versus, we don't have 100% FSD yet. If you got 99% FSD, you're getting pretty close, but you're still not there. That last 10% can have a lot of stuff in it that's really important that still needs to be solved. And so those are nines, right? that we still have to add to the thing. So
Yeah.
is it at what point is it 99.9%, 99.999%? Like how much of your driving does FSD have to be doing before you can look at the statistics and you can say, you can compare them to the human statistics and say, we're doing good. This is an apples to apples comparison, and FSD is better.
Yeah.
And that is a hard call to make, right? And it's Elon has said a whole bunch of times that he thinks like that is going to happen this year. And he's still saying that he thinks that is going to happen this year.
So this is the crux of the video. When does full self-driving come out? And then what is really aftermath of that? Well, since it's a technology that no one else has except for Tesla, or will have, I guess, it's basically blue ocean from there. No one else is going to be able to have it for a long time because they don't have the data. Because, I mean, I even feed data to Tesla and I don't even have full self-driving, but I'm sure they glean some certain things about the maps or how the cameras work from even my car that doesn't even use self-driving. But what's coming up here is, I think he's going to give a prediction that we need to pay attention here. And this is going to have a lot of downstream implications for Tesla and the Tesla stock. So let's listen in.
And it's possible. I mean, the recent progress on the recent major releases has been impressive. We will see what happens. My sense is it's getting pretty close. In the space of people who work on this stuff and who understand the tech and who follow it closely, there's still a large, maybe a majority of sort of people who understand the tech pretty well, who are skeptical that FSD is going to get there soon. Right. The space of people who think it's never going to happen has pretty much gone to zero. And the space of people who thought it was never going to happen, that was substantial as recently as maybe 5 or 10 years ago. So like there's already been a lot of progress in reducing the skepticism in the, machine learning, the community. But it hasn't gone to zero, and it won't go to zero until we have the cars out there. And even after you have the cars on the road, like there have been some milestones that we've been passed, and you see people who predicted that milestone wasn't going to be crossed will quibble. Well, it's not actually doing it because this thing isn't actually, completely independent.
So he's saying full self-driving will happen. So you just got to think on that. If full self-driving will happen, that means there will be robotaxi cars. 100%, right? So that's the first piece to this. But then when is it going to happen?
Or they're not doing it the right way or something.
Yeah.
So the naysayers aren't going to go away really soon, but the voices suggesting it's not going to happen are definitely gradually diminishing. And now it's kind of a contest between people who think it's 10 years away or 5 years away and people who think it's, we'll see it in a year or two, as opposed to people, it used to be, between it'll happen in 10 years and it'll happen in 50 years, right? So now we're down to like, 2 versus 10. And like I'm still in the 2 camp.
So basically, I think he's going to throw out a number here, but he's in the 2 camp. So that means by 2024, we have full self-driving and the whole shebang. So that means that the US government writes off on autonomous cars, basically. All the regulators say, yeah, have at it. Go ahead. I think that this is realistic. And if you believe James Douma here, you should buy Tesla stock because no one's close to having this completed. This technology in and of itself could raise a huge amount of funds and create its own economies basically, and basically double the value of Tesla if everyone's driving around in autonomous cars and summoning cars like on an Uber app or something like that. The car drives up, you get in, you go wherever you want, and you don't have to pay attention. You just arrive at your destination. You're able to work while the car drives you. That's huge. And just thinking about all the times I spent commuting, and I try to make that time worthwhile to me. So I would listen to the radio or something like that to try to get back some value from a commute. But if you're able to actually sit down and work wirelessly from wherever you want to go or wherever on the world you want to go. I think that adds a lot of value, and you can make a lot more use cases than that. Car ownership will decrease, and then more of like these public transit type situations will start to emerge, and there'll be a huge revenue increase just based on the ticket to ride from this robotaxi example. So if James Dalma thinks it's going to be like 2 years, I'm going to go with him. And that's why I'm buying into this Tesla dip. I'm still a Tesla bull. Obviously, I have Tesla stock. Talk to your financial advisors. It's not financial advice. I'm just sharing with you what I'm doing. But this is a great time to buy. I am extremely excited about Tesla stock right now. So Warren Buffett, when people are fearful, you need to be hawkish. He says something like that. I'm going to be buying into this dip for sure. It's not going to be more than 90%, or I'm sorry, more than 10% of my net worth. But we'll see how it goes. In 2 years, we're going to have Cybertruck and hopefully full self-driving. And I'm sure that'll be very attractive to large investment firms after those two things are realized. And we're even going to have the smaller iteration of the car, most likely the design coming out next year. So stay tuned, and we'll see where we go from here. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.